views and opinions expressed on Geeks Under the Influence are that of the panelists and not of our sponsors, Amazon.com and TeePublic. Parental discretion is advised.
Thousands of years after Earth has died is Dune. It's actually like the human race that goes out into the universe. And
man, that's depressing as shit. So,
well, I think Firefly has the same sentiment.
That is
like,
true.
Yeah, we settled a bunch of planets because we fucked off on the last one. Yeah, whoops. Terraform a bunch of shit. I would love though if we did like a post-apocalyptic series that like some real genuine like fucked up our life shit happened on Earth, like Why the Last Man, where it's just chicks. Like chicks have learned how to like clone sperm, and they're like, we don't need dudes anymore.
Oh, you mean the Rick and Morty episode?
Yes. Basically.
That's what it sounds like. It's a male. Shoot it out.
Just like, dick is the mind killer.
He who makes the sound we don't comprehend.
Yeah, just a bunch of like post-apocalyptic space Amazons that are running the fucking desert planet, riding sandworms to clutch, as we discovered on the last episode.
Yes, that needs to happen.
Yeah. I would love that. I do love with Why the Last Man that part of the conversation is how do they continue the human race, but there's like all these sperm banks where it's like, if you take care of those well enough, you're good for at least a couple generations.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, they're having problems with just keeping power plants operating and shit like that, so sperm banks might have gotten fucked up.
I mean, I'd say in the post-apocalypse, you don't worry about making sure that the bank has power. Like, make sure the sperm bank
you have certain groups, like the Amazons, that want to destroy anything penis-related, so, those sperm banks probably got fucked up, torched.
And was that in the books that they just took down the Washington Monument, or was that?
I think they just like vandalized it, but yeah, the ironic thing in the book is the monument is the main place women go to remember men is the giant phallic monument.
And the Amazons just write this, but a vagina, like on the side of it.
Fuck this.
Why is there no vagina monument? I mean, that is true. Why is there not a vagina monument?
We should have that.
We should have that. Just a giant Georgia O'Keeffe statue.
I don't know. Didn't we learn that the Statue of Justice is porn because it has a tit hanging out or something? Wasn't there some senator that was trying to put a block over the tit?
Oh, I think that was a
thing.
So
if we can't have a tit on a statue, I doubt we'll get a vagina statue.
You know, that's no justice, is even the justice lady not having to be able to have her tit out.
Yeah.
That's unfair.
Which
the titty.
David Cross has an amazing thing where he's like, when I look at art, I go to a museum, if I see a tit out, I can't help it. I just have to pull it out and just start going at it because, I can't distinguish art from, like, porn. Like, yeah, calm down, people.
Like, we've all seen boobs. They're amazing.
Yeah.
But also, if you can't handle yourself by seeing a boob, then, like, you have a whole lot of other issues that you need to handle before being out in public. That's not the boob's fault. It's not like boobs like secret whisper. It's like you're at a nudist beach and the titty's just like, hey, I know your wife is sleeping next to you, but why don't you just come over and pinch on this?
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
That wouldn't work.
Yeah, that's the reason all the guys get killed, all right? So.
Yeah, it's the secret titty whispers.
Yeah. Oh,
God, this is going the wrong way. We're trying to curve this into, not really a natural progression between the two.
No. I think it started with Vagina Statue and just started going downhill from there. So
what we are planning on talking about is Why the Last Man, which the entire premise is basically that one day all the men in the world except for one dies. And what happens on this planet when there are no men that exist after this, except one dude that happens to be the worst of us. He's a close-up magician with a pet monkey.
Don't forget, his monkey is also male because it kills it kills all male mammals.
Which I'm interested to get into. Something that they definitely didn't touch on the series very much at all is the number of possibilities as to why the men died. There were like 3 or 4 different things.
They fuck with you in the comic.
Yeah. They give you a lot of different options as to what maybe happened to kill all the men's off. But we are very excited to talk about the unfortunately already canceled TV series Why the Last Man, and but even more so the comic that it is adapted from. On this episode of Geeks Under the Influence, all things Why the Last Man.
Buildings at work and shall be again. A changing of the guards, the tides marching in. You think you can hold out, but you know you're wrong, so you better join us now. You
I used to join in, but I like to sit back and just watch it happen.
I like that. Yeah, you definitely don't join in. You just look
I
at
used
me
to.
like a pet capuchin monkey that's just doing tricks for you.
Just do it.
Okay.
Dance
cool.
monkey, dance.
Cool.
Yeah.
So here we are talking about Why the Last Man. This is going to be interesting only because I think this is the first time that we've talked about a series that's already canceled. We're coming in and being like,
There's no anticipation, like maybe a second. Well, we can't get into. Well, second season, we hope to see this. Like we already know. No.
There is always the possibility that it's going to be picked up by some other streaming service. That's been done before. That is a possibility. But one thing that we are going to talk about on this episode for sure is why we think it got canceled. There's a number of different things that I've read, not just numbers, but also like contracts and how much people were expecting to be paid to continue on.
Yeah.
There's a few things, but before we get into that, let's get into our cavalcade of panelists on this episode. First up, a panelist that was super intense about making sure that she was on the Why the Last Man. Like, are you doing Why the Last Man? If there's Why the Last Man, I want to be on Why the Last Man. We're doing this. I'm like, yes, you have a seat, not a problem. A fan of the comic and the series. Tori is here.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
What was the last episode you were on? You were on recently.
Venom.
Yeah, you were on Venom.
Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah, very excited to talk about this.
Yeah, this is a comic that I think this is one of the few times that everybody at the table has at least some level of experience with the comics as well as the series. So I'm excited to really have more of a conversation of the differences between the two.
Yes.
This was a comic that was recommended to me years and years ago because this came out in 2002, and I read the whole thing so fast, just every volume, and then the person that recommended it to me, they're like, "Oh, I only read the first 2 volumes." I'm like, "What?
Really?
What?" I'm like, it's like, "Oh, the first volume is so good," so but then I just blazed through it. Like, I love this graphic novel.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's fantastic. Just we'll get into the meat of it later, but
And I'm trying to remember. I don't remember if I was the one that exposed you to Why the Last Man, or if I let you borrow something, or our next panelist, a newbie breaking her cherry on GUI. The one time that you've heard her on any of the GUI shows, that's the cherry breaking noise. She was on with her partner Nick on the Lost Boys episode of Smack My Pitch Up. First time on GUI. We've got Teri here. We don't have like a fun Teri NoPants.
Yeah.
We'll come up with something.
We'll
I've got extra pants on today. But
it's a little chilly today. But
there was a
Two
story
pants.
behind that name, and well, you've Oregon Hill, dude.
Yeah, Oregon
no
Hill, babe.
AC,
Right. Yep, absolutely.
no air conditioning, river jams, no
Yeah.
pants.
Was there alcohol involved, or
Usually,
Yeah.
Usually, yes.
But-
And yes, I believe you actually did introduce me to this
I
particular
was
book.
trying to remember because we were trading comics there for a second. We were like X-Force and Why the Last Man and some other stuff.
More so, you were lending me comics
Okay,
than trading. But
Who,
yeah.
me? Oh, yeah.
you lent me the boys too.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Ugh.
fucking boys. So good. You recently got one of the big compendiums. For,
I have. That was my gift to self last tax season
Nice.
after all my bills were paid.
Yes.
I had a little
absolutely.
left over, so I bought the box set of the hardback compendiums. That's why I'm only halfway through them, because they're so cumbersome. They're this big, you know.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, I can't read this in my bed.
Yeah, just like this giant tome that you're
It is.
taking.
It really is. So I almost brought one of them with me, but just for references. But I'm glad I didn't.
Not a lot of table space. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
But I would have been like D&Ding it. Like, I'm reading my sheet. Leave me alone. I'll get there.
What was his name again?
Yeah, no, because I wanted to refresh a little bit after rewatching the show in the last couple days.
Mhm.
And then I was like, this is so not like the book.
It really isn't. And I'm mad that I didn't get a chance to revisit the comics, but I feel with all of us together, we're going to be able to really get into the differences a decent amount. And a gentleman that's going to be helping us along the way is my co-host on this episode. Lowdown was scheduling with the Halloween season and all the episodes needed a, since we're doing like
small break.
basically weekly GUIs at this point,
Yeah.
needed a break. And no better a co-host for this episode is someone that is a deep lover of this comic. that can talk about the insights as well as the relation to the series. We've got Fuck You Hunter here.
What's up, you Amazon bitches?
Yeah. One titty girl.
That's right. It's been a crazy year when I think about just the books that I've gotten into just years and years ago that are now TV shows. It's unfortunate that Y's one of the victims of only having one season, but fuck, you go into Y, Last Man, you go into Invincible, fucking Sweet Tooth. I mean, this year's been packed with a lot of like books, and not your Marvel DC, but like off of that imprint.
Well, I feel in the early days of GUI, we even waxed poetic about the fact that there were all these alternative comics that weren't superhero related, or that if they were superhero related, they were like alternative takes on the superhero thing, like Invincible and The Boys. And we would talk about why aren't these being made into series? They're so rich with world building and characters. Yeah. And then years later, now,
I will admit, I was a little scared because, I hyped up Why the Last Man for years after I finished reading the book. And the first kind of big thing that was going to happen was they were supposed to have a movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by the guy that directed Disturbia and starring Shia LaBeouf.
No.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that almost happened. The reason it didn't is because Shia thought the character was too much like Sam Witwicky from Transformers, which if he thought...
God damn it.
Hang on. If he thought that the script that he read for Why the Last Man was too much like the character from Transformers, it would have been a garbage movie.
Oh, yeah.
So thank God it actually didn't happen.
I'm also confused. He was actually trying to make a character in those fucking Transformers movies because,
Shia.
I know. Just like I was trying to go into this approach of this lost guy who, it's you just talk to robots that transform.
Shia LaBeouf just seems like a dude that watched way too many Vince Vaughn movies and just picked up all the affectations.
Yeah.
But
and not as funny. But
Just walking around calling everybody babies.
yeah, babies doing finger guns. Everybody.
And let's bring up the great hostess with the mostest.
Jesus.
Don't
set me up like that.
That's right. I call you hostess,
Yeah.
But the man, the
Like a
myth, the
cupcake.
legend,
Oh, Jesus.
Mike the Hobbit Bickett.
Legend in my own mind, and that is it. Yes, I am Mike the Hobbit, the host of Geeks Under the Influence. Check out our stuff at GUIPodcast.com for all the links to our social media stuff, the other shows on the network, and our links to Amazon and TeePublic with tons of designs, including a new Dune design that should be on the page by the time this releases, hopefully.
It's pretty cool.
It's all right. It's all right. I definitely spent an exorbitant amount of time. That's one of those designs where I came up with an idea and then it just kept getting more grandiose and I spent more and more time on it. So judge it as you will. Just go to GUIPodcast.com for those links and others. And on to Why the Last Man. The first thing I wanted to dig into is the series itself. Before we get too much into the comparison, the setup where you've got basically the story of the apocalypse of men dying that is being told through the through line of these different members of this one family. One is being the technically highest ranking for a moment, ranking woman in the government that ends up taking over as president, and then her favorite son, the one she's so proud of that does close-up magic and has a pet capuchin monkey. Every mother's dream is to have a close-up magician.
Oh, yes. The one that he always seems to need to borrow money to pay rent.
Yeah.
But his magic is his career is gonna jump soon. It's just help him out
a little
for
more time.
this month. Next month, I'll be
I'll be solid.
Yeah.
Well, she had like a disappointing daughter that was like having sex with a married guy. So, she was like, oh, close-up magician. At least he's in a serious relationship.
Former addict, paramedic. So,
Sure.
Also killed a dude in the ambulance.
Well,
so
she didn't know that.
She didn't know that.
She didn't know.
She accidentally hit him with a blunt object.
Yeah.
I think it was a fire extinguisher or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't it?
She didn't know that a very heavy, large fire extinguisher thrown at someone's head would do serious damage to a person.
Not an EMT. Why would she know that?
Yeah, she had no reason to know that blunt force trauma could cause someone to be not alive anymore. Super weird.
Good timing.
Yeah. So here's Diane Lane. Fantastic actress. I think a great choice for this role. Is doing a hell of a job. keeping straight face as her magician son and addict sleeping with married men daughter are just ruining her fucking life, and her husband that
I was
cheats on
going to say,
her.
can we mention the cheating husband?
Cheating husband, like,
yeah.
everything is burning down around this woman, and still she's so fundamentally focused on her career that she's not even really addressing it for the most part. That sounds like a politician to me. I mean,
Yeah.
so focused on your career that your family just burns down around you.
Now, I did have a feeling when I saw that she was playing the mom that in the book, you get kind of she's in a few issues, but not really just heavy-handed. This one, they completely concentrate on her character so much more than in the comic. And I felt like that's because we spent all this money to get Diane Lane. We're going to have a sub-story involving her more than you ever see in the comic.
I was really surprised that they cast her too, actually. I thought it was a fitting person for the role. She looks the part.
Yeah.
But I was really surprised because all the other main characters are like, you never heard of these people.
Yeah.
And I was like, why her for that role? Because it was such a non-role in the story.
Well, I think that's the first misstep that I felt with this series. That and that being said, is that I didn't dislike the series. I liked it okay, but it was, I think while it was happening, was trying to figure out how to have its own voice throughout the entirety of the series. The book really focuses on Uric and his travels, and then you have like shoots over to his mom and his sister and other stuff that's happening, but he's the main focus of it. They're doing so much world building in this first season that he's almost, from episode 1, a secondary character. He's just being dragged along for the ride. He is not at all in focus at almost any point in the series. Even when there are events that are happening around him, it's more relating to the scientist woman and his bodyguard and what's happening around him, and less so. He doesn't really have any scenes where he's important at all. He has a couple minor ones where he's just like, I miss my girlfriend. She's gone. So that's sad.
I mean, they portray both the comic and the show. I feel like Yorick is just not ever should be put in charge of anything.
Oh, no,
he
he's
always
a mess.
makes the worst decisions. But in the
He's a close-up magician.
Yeah.
And, like, I have a friend that's a
Escape
magician,
artist.
but that's like a side gig, which is as much as anybody besides Blaine should ever do as far as magic goes.
But in the comic, he still had more of a sense of humor, where in the series, he's just very emo through most of it, which for good reason. But I was just kind of expecting him to kind of joke around a little bit more if they were going to really get to the character from the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you're saying about that, like the one scene in the show where they're in Marysville and they're having the party and he gets 355 to dance with him.
Yeah.
To Scrubs.
Yeah.
Or no Scrubs.
Yeah, that's right.
TLC. And that's the only part in the entire show that he reflected the character from the book at all, from what I could tell.
Yeah.
Like the goofy kind of, like he's kind of cocky, but not an asshole. And
Yeah.
in the story.
And I think that's what you needed, though. Like, you needed that opposite of 355 being so fucking serious. Like, we have a mission, to him being like, oh, check this shit out.
Right.
I think in the comic there was just so much, like, at the beginning of him, like, being alone and traveling alone before he interacted with anyone.
Yeah.
Like, and I think, getting to know his sense of humor that way. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he was just super emo.
Well, that's the thing. I think in the comic,
Thank you. Yes.
He's so emo.
he is a guy that can't get out of his own way in both versions. But in the comic book version, there's like a kind of a lovability to that type of personality where you understand that he is the most well-meaning person. He's a sweetheart. Like he's very empathetic, and he cares about people, and he loves people, and very kind of positively driven. Even though he's a little bit whiny at times, he still like hopes for the best in situations and wants to think the best about people. And then you've got Ceres Uric, and he's very self-focused. I mean, he's selfish. He even when it comes to the people that he has to find his girlfriend, it's less about her. Like even in the flashbacks where he's with his girlfriend, it's not about her at all. It's about what she represents to him. even their engagement and all that stuff seems very selfish in its approach to the character. And that's not something that's not a person that you are necessarily going to be like aligning yourself with during the storytelling. You're going to be like, now, does he deserve this? Like, does he really deserve to be the last man? In the books, at least, you kind of go like, yeah, he's not the best of us, but he's well-meaning. You're still rooting for him, you know?
Yeah, not so much of the series.
The series, you're just like, oh, Jesus Christ, just get fucking, man. The number of times that 355 is just like, don't do this or you'll die. And he's like, well, guess I'm going to go do this. And then gets mad when she calls him out on it. It's just...
Not that the script would have changed much at all, but do you think it would have been different if it was the original actor versus the person that got recast?
Who's the original actor?
Okay, I don't remember their name. They were in Dunkirk, and they're in the new Eternals movie.
Oh, okay.
He
I know
plays
exactly
the younger... his name...
He kind of has like squinty eyes.
Like squinty eyes.
Looks, yeah.
He was the original... Maybe he's like something Keckner or... Ben?
David Keckner.
It's not Dave Keckner.
Oh, no, but now I want to see that version.
No.
He was one of the sons on the boat in Dunkirk.
Yeah, but that guy... And then what happened was, it was like literally February 2020, and he left. And then they recast it with this guy who has barely been in anything, really.
The Warcraft movie.
And then, that was it, Warcraft. And then, lockdown, all that stuff. So that, shut everything down. And then almost every single actor, except for Diane Lane, got recast.
See, I think, I don't think the actor that they have playing Yorick is bad as an actor. He's not a bad actor. He just doesn't have nearly the, presence to really play this character the way that I think it needs to be played, especially when you are literally a person that everyone's trying to prevent from dying except the Amazons. Like, everybody's like, oh, God, we got to keep him safe. You got to have some likability. He's not likable.
This is why they should have made it years ago, because Zachary Levi was a huge advocate for wanting to do the series, because even in an episode of Chuck, he's reading Why the Last Man because he wanted to do it. He loves the comic, and he would have been perfect.
He's aged out now, but I agree.
Well, yeah, he's way too old now. But
his personality, spot on perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because that's what you need, is you need someone who's kind of like Zachary Levi, where with someone so serious like 355, so you have that blend instead of 355, take charge, Yorick, whiny, complaining all the time. It doesn't gel well, and you can see the effects where you're just kind of bored with some of their scenes. You just don't care.
I could even see the dialogue being the same, but the delivery being different, and it would have changed entirely the context of the scenes, where if it was more of a kind of like playful, sarcastic approach to some of these lines, then it wouldn't be coming off as this like fucking, well, just listen to fucking The Cure's Disintegration again, and it would have just had a more sarcastic, fun vibe.
I also feel like that has a lot to do with the writing, though.
Yeah.
And that kind of bothered me, the way the delivery wasn't completely on the actors in the show.
Yeah.
I think that, like, the way that they were written...
Well, everything tonally, yeah.
It was really weird. Like, 355 is supposed to be really badass and really hardcore and really matter-of-fact. And in the show, she comes across as very subservient. You know what I mean? Like, to the president, like, I serve the president.
Sure,
Use me, do what you want me to do, Where in the book, she's like, no, this is how it fucking is. This is what's going on. This is what we're doing. Get out of my way or I will shoot you.
Yeah.
It also, in the comics, it took a very long time for there to be any kind of connection, like, romantic-wise, between 355 and Yorick. And then, like, towards, like, the end of, like, the 9th episode or whatever, it was, like, because he hooks up with that one girl, and she's like, are you just mad because, like, you like him too? And it's just like, why does she like him already? Like, this is way too, like, you need to drag it out so much. And obviously it got canceled, doesn't matter. But if it was, like, going to continue, it's like, it's way too soon. You just, like, you can't.
One of the appeals of the book is that it's like a road trip book. And as they go through all this stuff and all these experiences, that's where the stuff that she gets annoyed with Yorick, eventually she kind of sees that you can see, like, she's starting, the attraction start happening. But yeah, we're talking about, they've gone through one state, and she's like, maybe he's kind of cute. I don't know. It's a little forced, all right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really kind of very Pride and Prejudice-y, the books. So, it takes a very long time, and they hate each other, and then they're like...
But Yorick is Mr. Darcy? Is it?
Oh, no.
I want to see Pride and Prejudice where Mr. Darcy just has a pet monkey that hangs out with him all the time. Which, of course, all the women would be like, no, he's got a pet
Can
monkey.
we keep Colin Firth, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Colin Firth as Yorick. I'm fucking up. I don't even care. They did a musical where the dude that wrote it is now like 48 and he plays a high school kid that just came out. Or the movie version of it. So fuck it. Who cares anymore? Get Colin Firth to play Yorick. I'm down.
Sure.
It's weird because the way the series takes it is some storylines that are just first issue, they've dragged out through the entire series. A lot with the mom. And then other ones they've like just forced in that's happens farther in the series, like the convicts and stuff like that. They're just like, well, let's just put this here and then just make it ironic that the Amazons now travel like down the road to where the convicts is.
Down the street.
I mean, it's just
it is a 1.5 day trek.
What a
Yeah,
coincidence.
they were in Baltimore, then suddenly they're in Ohio.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's just a little forced. Like if you could take your time with some storylines and drag them out and then push other ones in, it just seems weird to make those decisions. Besides, well, we got Diane Lane, let's make the whole president thing longer and longer.
Also, like at the very end, it's just like the Culpa ring, like they give her like a car with a full tank of gas and a map. It's like, oh, now you give them a car with a full tank of gas?
Yeah.
Like now.
Also, I do understand that you want to have like a Prince Joffrey character in this, but like the amount of like heavy-handed writing that happened with the two terrible women in this, which is like the hard right-wing like daughter of the former president or whatever, that's like fucking, yeah, and like babies are cool, but if you don't have a baby, then fuck you, men are cool.
I mean, are they not just trying to say she's, what's her name, McCain?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's blatantly obvious.
But then you've got the former Walmart employee that pretends she's a cop. That I understand that you need to have that character to like start the Amazons and everything, but also the weird backstory that they gave her of her being like weepy little fucking. I felt it was incredibly unnecessary just to fucking. I'm glad they killed her. I was really stoked that they fucking murdered the shit out of her. But damn, I felt like it was wasting time with the Amazons. I feel. Am I right that in the comic they just kind of jumped into them existing already?
They're already the Amazons.
Yeah, and they all cut off their titties already. Like they were already that far in.
Yeah, they made the whole thing because like she had her titty cut off because of breast cancer and everything. But like I need to just say like Missy Pyle was just so excellent, and I think she's such an underrated actress.
No, I agree.
And I think she was so good in that, and I was so excited to see her like do this thing,
take over,
and like yeah, like honestly, like I don't know, I could disagree with you a little bit because like you needed that little bit of backstory because at first you just like totally buy in, and they're like, oh yeah, she was just a fucking Costco employee, and then like yeah, all this shit.
I will say I was at first irritated about how. Okay, we have to build to the Amazons. But I will say the strongest part, I think, of the show, in my opinion, were those last 2 episodes, and specifically the mom that was working with the president.
Nora.
And how she gets pushed around by Missy Pyle until she discovers that cop car. She goes, oh, this is all a fucking act. And as soon as she knows that, her personality changes because she goes, you're full of shit. All your shit is bullshit. And then it's like, I now have the card on you. I'm now in control. And you can see her where before she was terrified to say anything. Like she was, she walks over, puts the dirt on the girl just because she's like, I don't want to, cause any problems. I'll do this stupid dirt thing. And then once she knows she has something on her, then she's like, how about we don't do that? Let's do this. And she's already taking the leadership because she knows who's in charge isn't real, is completely fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. Like, once she knew that she was a complete fraud, she's like, oh, I'm in charge now. Like, and she was.
And she got that confidence. That's the whole thing. That's what she needed.
Well, I think that also does compare to her working in politics and seeing, like, how people portray themselves in front of a crowd versus who they actually are as people. And she's like, oh, no, I know how to deal with this.
Yeah.
That you aren't actually a badass. You're kind of a piece of shit that's faking it like everybody else that I've dealt with in fucking DC. You're just one of these other people. And she almost kind of alludes to it as being like, I know this game that you're playing. And she doesn't even like necessarily discredit that she's being a liar. It's more of like, you're bad at this. You're gonna fuck up. You're gonna ruin this. You need my help because I've been dealing with liars like you this whole time.
Yeah, no, I agree that Missy Pyle did a great job on that.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was her, and then but I looked up because like I was like, that is from Galaxy Quest? And
I had to look it up too.
Yeah,
because she looks a bit different.
Yeah, and when you first see her, she's like pretty hardcore and shit like that. It's almost until you get to the flashback scene. I was like, when she's kind of squirrely and stuff, like, oh, that is her.
Yeah,
her voice is different.
Yeah,
very hoarse.
Yeah,
from a lot of probably practice screaming a lot.
But I guess with the Amazons, my biggest issue was not that they had that backstory, but that it seemed to just like drag for so long that it was already established. I think it's like a lot of the flashbacks and how they got there. It seems so drag out there. Like, well, we can't tell the whole story in one go. And I'm like, you could have totally showed her being an employee to faking being a cop and stuff in one fucking episode and been good to go. But they dragged it out over several episodes. So to the point that there is that turn with Missy Pyle, I was like, I don't care about any of the Amazons besides Missy Pyle. Like I'm good with her, and I want to make sure that her daughter is like in tow, because that would be heart wrenching.
That was actually Nora's daughter,
or Nora's daughter. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
yeah. But I just stopped giving a shit about most of the Amazons at that point.
If anything, it makes you realize to treat Costco employees better because, like, when the end of the world happens, they're just going to start killing. Like, the scene in the flashback when she's just shooting people coming in the store, and she's never killed anyone in her life, and she's never thought about, like,
sharpshooter.
She's just practicing killing actual people, and she's, like, loving
Oh, no,
it.
that's not... Costco pays well. It's going to be Walmart. Like,
yeah.
Costco's going to be like, listen...
Yeah.
Like, we'll protect... Like, you paid us decent. We've got
Walmart.
decent living. Walmart, they're going to be like, okay, murder all the management.
War zone.
Like, fucking...
I mean, the other thing I will say with the Amazons and Misty Pyle's character is that it reminded me a lot of, like, kind of with Walking Dead and Negan. How Negan, I mean, as he is kind of a bigger guy, but, I mean, his henchmen are bigger than him. It's just... You just find the weakness, you find the motivating thing, and you're like, okay, I'm the leader. We are decided that I'm the leader, and we're going to follow what I say. And it's what she does with these girls. She sees his house, and she sees, oh, they're very impressionable, and she just makes up the story and then says, now we're doing this. And you know what? Let's not stay at the house. I got us all set up here.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison because I saw that backstory, a Negan episode very recently. And yeah, it's just like he was a high school gym teacher. He cheated on his wife. He's a piece of shit. Like, he's a nobody.
Yeah.
And then he's like fucking Negan. So same with her.
Yeah.
Like Roxanne, she was a nobody. Like
She just saw people that, again, in the apocalypse, there's people that are just desperate to be led.
Right.
And these two people are like, I can sell you on the story. I can just act badass, and you're just going to fall. I mean, she's like, all right, now we're going to change your name. You're going to lay down. We'll put dirt down on you. And they're like, okay, you're the leader. Like, nobody says, what does that do?
Well, I think it's leaning on a trope that's been used in post-apocalyptic and war movies for the longest time, is that people in the most dire of circumstances are looking for somebody to tell them what to do, because nobody, even if you are a leader type, nobody really wants to be the person charging into where people are going to die. And the one thing that I think about is Saving Private Ryan, where you've got Tom Hanks that the entire time they're placing bets on what he was before the war. And they're being like, yeah, he was like he was already in the military. He was like a bodyguard. He's like all this stuff, like badass jobs, because he's in charge. He's the guy. He's a fucking high school teacher. And at the end, he's like, yeah, high school teacher. And they're like, fucking really? And there are just some people that step up in those circumstances.
I think, and it's a good comparison with like the two different stories in DC, because in DC you do have all these people that have leadership qualities, and that's why they're butting heads. It's not just, Diane Lane didn't say, all right, I'm the smartest person in the room, so I'm taking over. Pretty much she's kind of with the succession of who's left, but there's people that are like, no, it should be this person. There's butting of heads. It's just not, I'm in charge, everybody listen to me. So you get that kind of different dynamic where, the Amazons, okay, we listen to every word you say. Every other thing Diane Lane's character says is questioned and dissected, because there's people that are vying to take that job.
And that balance, I wish that they had really cultivated that comparison a little bit better in the series, because that is an important comparison where somebody that actually has at least some experience in that role that's trying to get shit to like stay together is being questioned all the time. Person that makes up shit half the time, people are listening to without question.
Yeah.
It just, and that's
no proof.
No proof whatsoever. And like, talk about timely.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But I think that's a good place for us to stop for our first half on this episode. We've got plenty more to talk about, including digging into the books more.
Let's get into the
books. On the
books.
second half, let's get into the books a little bit more, as well as what we're drinking and drunken scenes and such. So stick around. We'll be back in just a minute.
Coming straight from the mouths of madness, I'm Lowdown.
I'm FU Hunter.
Do you love horror?
We fucking do.
So this is a podcast dedicated to all things in cinematic horror. We're talking movies, television, composers, special effects artists. We're gonna fucking cover it.
So if you love horror,
Embrace the madness.
My name is Amy Bogard,
And I'm Mike the Hobbit.
and we are the hosts of Deeply Upsetting, where we use our expertise to answer your most upsetting hypothetical quandaries, such as what non-winged animal deserves wings?
And what body part deserves a secret mouth?
Which cryptid is the worst roommate?
These questions and more that plague you will be answered on Deeply Upsetting, available anywhere you get your podcasts and at GUIPodcast.com.
Hey guys, Scotty Big Daddy Preston here, that's right, the Geek Father, asking you to join me here every other week with friends and family of the GUI Network as we go through all the trials and tribulations of being a geeky parent. So remember, join us or cry.
We're back for the second half of Geeks Under the Influence, all things why? Or why? The Last Man. I think that's why? The Last Man.
Why?
Before we continue on to this episode, let's talk about our sponsors, the ones that help us deliver this delicious blend of comedy and insight to your ears every week. We're talking about Amazon.com. It's not just the thing that is ruining everybody, the world for everyone and small businesses. It's also our sponsor. But the way that you can take money away from Jeff Bezos is going to GUIPodcast.com and clicking on the Amazon link. That way, money that you're spending on Amazon, some of it comes to us instead of them. So it's sometimes a necessary evil to shop Amazon. And
you're always almost apologizing every time. Like, I know it's evil, but
it's only I have plans on lining up a new sponsor, but in the meantime, we are still getting money from Amazon.com, and Jeff Bezos doesn't give a fuck enough to listen to this show. So
yeah,
fuck it. If you're gonna shop Amazon, if you
he's
don't shop
designing-
Amazon, I get it. I'm not asking you to. But if you are already shopping Amazon, then
might as well.
might as well
Just
go
a
through our link.
Little click.
Just a little click. It's going to take you 2 extra seconds to go through our link on the website. And that way, anything you purchase, we get credit for, and we get some of the money that you're spending on Amazon instead of Amazon.
That's
so
right. Run us some of that coin.
if anything, it's going to make you feel a little bit better about shopping Amazon.com. We do it. I do it. I definitely make sure that I go through the link when I shop Amazon. So, and especially with the holidays coming, with all the shipping issues, people are going to have to shop holiday season a little bit earlier this year than normal. If you're doing it, if you're spending a few $100 on Amazon for holiday gifts, might as well go through the link first. So that one-stop shop, you're getting us taken care of. And that's our little holiday present from you.
Yeah. I just wanted to comment on the shirt you have. It's such an amazing design. Where did you get that shirt?
This is my Tucci Gang shirt.
Oh.
Because the Tooch,
Mm-hmm.
the Stanley Tucci, the beloved actor and pasta enthusiast, if you have not seen his CNN show, where he just walks around looking very well put together and being like really civil and nice to everybody and just eats pasta and pizza. And it's one of the most wonderful shows I've ever seen.
It's a good design and a very high quality shirt, but I just where would you get something like that?
Funny you should mention that.
Huh.
We have a page on TeePublic where you can get all the designs from the different shows in the network, including Tucci Gang and designs that are references to inside jokes from GUI, designs from all the different shows, including Hunter. You actually are on 2 of the other shows on the network.
Yes, and I believe there's shirts on there from the Mouths of Madness, our horror podcast on the GUI network, and Beautiful Disasters, our schlock and B-movie one.
And there will be a number of Beautiful Disasters designs that are going to be dropping in the very near future
Yes.
on the site that I'm looking forward to. They're an homage to Buckaroo Banzai, I believe, right?
And we already have one that's an homage to Battle Royale.
Battle Royale, yeah. So there's a number of designs from all the different shows, including Smack My Pitch Up, including GUI, Deeply Upsetting show that I'm on with Amy Bogard, as well as Geek Fathers and like all the other shows of the network. And dumb inside jokes, including a design from GUI from our last episode, Spice Rocker, which is a play on the Earth Rocker album design from Clutch with a little Dune for good measure. A little Dune spice.
You love those mashups.
Love them. Love them so much. So check that out, GUIPodcast.com/store, or just click on the TeePublic link on our homepage, and that'll send you right to our store. 40 plus designs to fill your life with nothing but GUI. You can be Garth in Wayne's World, where you're just covered in GUI stuff, being like, some people just sell out, man, I just don't get it, and leaning back in your chair, wearing like GUI merch from head to toe.
I just don't get it. I've got a headache. I don't want to talk about it.
And then you just like rock your baby carriage, and they're wearing a GUI onesie where it's the human centipede that says live, laugh, love in a onesie.
You're so proud of that one, too.
I love that one. It's so fucking dark. That's all available. GUIPodcast.com/store. On to the stuff that really motivates us to be here. The thing that really got us to start this in the first place was hanging out with friends and drinking beer and talking about nerdy shit. And then that one moment that every chubby bearded white dude has, we should make this a podcast.
What we're doing here? What we're doing?
We're doing it here. We're going to do that.
We should make that.
What if we just record it?
I'm scarred after that YouTube video, man. God damn it.
Perfect. I would be mad at it if it wasn't so fucking true. Just Google or just YouTube search, what if this was a podcast or something? You'll find it. It's very funny. But we're talking, of course, about what we're drinking.
Hey, we're fucking drinking. We're getting drunk. You want to know? Well, here you go. Hey,
we're drinking. Get drunk. Drinking time.
Yeah.
All right. So, Tori, you brought some tasty beverages for us to enjoy here. What do you got there? For your share.
So for my share, I brought Albino Monkey in honor of Ampersand. From local Strange Ways Brewing Company. It's a white ale with spices.
It is very tasty. This is Strange Ways.
It's really tasty.
Strange Ways was the brewery that we used to do the Beautiful Disasters movie nights back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
It was such a good time. You came to those, right?
I came to two of those.
Two of those, yeah. It's such a good time. And talk about a good time. Albino Monkey is one of my favorite brews from Strange Ways.
I really love Strange Ways. I'm not a huge beer person, and that's one of the few breweries in the city that I love to drink at. I really love it.
And this is 5% ABV, so this is very sessionable.
Yeah.
It's a lighter beer. It has a little hop to it, but not overplayed. It's very smooth, delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
enjoying
this. Yeah.
I always enjoyed a lot of the Strange Ways stuff. It's pretty good.
I like Strange Ways. They can get very experimental with some of their brew choices. They've done like a Fruit Loops beer. They do a bunch of sours. They do a bunch of weird, funky stuff.
See, I'm a fan of sours, and
Same.
yeah, they've done a bunch of really, really tasty
really
sours.
cool sours. Yeah.
There was like a red Flemish ale they did, which I don't remember the name of it, but I had never had anything like that. I was like, oh, I really like it because it's super sour. Because I really, really love sour things. I tried a Warhead for the first time. Very underwhelming. Not at all sour. 1 out of 10. Sour.
That's because you had sour beer before that. You're not like a 6-year-old being like, this is the sourest thing I've ever had.
Well, I had grown adults saying it's so sour. And I'm like, no. But no, I really love sour beers.
Yeah.
And Strange Ways does a really good job with theirs.
Strange Ways is pretty good about trying out a bunch of different stuff and making that available at, they got 2 locations in Richmond, and then there's one in, I think, Fredericksburg as well. So if you have an opportunity, check it out. They're a great brewery. And give a try to Albino Monkey. That is a perfect choice for this episode. The one that I brought for us to share is a different vehicle entirely. This is a Belgian IPA that I'm sipping on. I'm not normally a big IPA person, but actually I'm not mad at this. I can drink this. It's not my favorite IPA that I've had, but I am so picky that this being something I could drink, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty critical on IPAs, and this one's tolerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's not so hop heavy that that's all you taste. You get a little bit of that like floral, kind of fruity back end to it. The hop is really present in the front, but then your finish on that is more the fruity kind of.
You're not drinking and then smelling the hops in your nose afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. And what we're talking about is Flying Dog's Raging Bitch. It's thematic to this episode specifically for the leader of the Amazons, and what's her fuck, the daughter of the president.
Hero?
Not also Hero. Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
McCain or whatever. Actually,
Kimberly.
Kimberly. Yeah,
In the show.
Amber Tamblyn.
Which did catch me off guard when I saw that was her in that role. So
Right. No, I mean, I really liked her in that role.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
A
saying. Like, she did a great job, but I didn't put two to two together. That was her in the first
'Cause she's
episode.
David Cross's wife and complete
Exactly.
opposite. Which,
She's David Cross's wife.
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's so not that person, which is kind of the same thing with Henry Rollins playing the Nazi in season 2 of Sons of Anarchy, where you get a person that's the polar opposite of the character, and they're the ones that are going to be able to play that character as fucking buck wild as you want them to.
You almost wonder
That's how you prove yourself a good actor.
if David Cross
Yeah.
kind of pushed her, like, because he's a huge comic book nerd. Too.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Hey, there's a role you should maybe, I don't know.
Right?
Which it makes me so happy that, like, if you would have told me, like, back in, like, the Mr. Show days that David Cross was going to marry the girl from Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and also, like,
Seriously.
hang out with, like, America Ferrera from Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, like...
Can I just add to
Yeah.
that?
Amazing.
If you told me the other guy from Mr. Show was going to be in a John Wick style action movie years later, I would have been like, what?
Like,
Yeah.
we
Mr. Or Nobody. Yeah, that movie is amazing.
just
Better
just
Call
stop. You're getting me all bothered. Like, we need to move on. I can't.
But I would say both of these are definitely solid choices for our foray into Why the Last Man. Tori, you do have a couple drinks that you're drinking on just for yourself that are also relatively thematic as well.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I'm drinking Petite by Michael David. It's a Petite Syrah blend from Lodi, California. It's like got a very carnival like label. So magician, carnival. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I
There's
mean,
monkeys and magicians and shit.
yeah, monkeys and
That's-
magicians and stuff. It's one of my favorite wines. So
Nice.
I'm drinking that as well. But
Nice. And in a world with no men, Franzia would run out on the shelf pretty regularly, and that's
Yes.
what Teri's drinking on.
I'm working on my Boxo Magic wine here.
Sunset Blush.
Sunset Blush.
Could you imagine just like that all of the like really fucking high octane dark beers are still left on the shelves in the post-apocalypse, but the Franzia is just fucking gone.
Yeah.
Just fucking gone.
we're out of Chardonnay.
It's my mom wine.
All the Cabernet Sauvignon's still on the shelves, but all the fucking like steel cast shards are just gone. Just
Hey,
out the
hey,
window.
hey, you can't blame all the sad mothers who just lost their children to drown their sorrows in a space bag.
No, any kind of apocalypse, yeah, drink as much as you want. It's fine.
yeah.
It's fine.
I'm just gonna raid Jeff Bezos' like wine cellar, and then I'm set.
Oh my god, that's where you just
Like,
go like,
that's
well,
where you
guess
post up.
Guess I'm
Yeah.
drinking to death. Yeah, that's when leaving Las Bezos is just like, just in his wine cellar, just fucking going for it.
Oh my god.
So on that note, let's get back into Why the Last Man. We're going to talk a little bit more about the comic on the second half. So if you haven't had the chance to read the comic, we are going to probably spoil some stuff that hasn't been covered in the series. But the book's been out since 2002, so it's one of
I
those.
mean, last issue was 2008, so it's been enough time. I think.
Yeah. And also like there's not a lot of Shyamalan what a twist things that happen. It's the nature of just a post-apocalyptic world where there's one dude with a monkey trying to get by. But I'm interested to see with Why the Last Man. It was reminiscent of the Preacher series as far as a comic book that's being adapted into a series, in that the first like 5 pages of the first comic was the entire first season.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But with Preacher, they gave a lot of really interesting backstory, and I wasn't mad at it. Whereas with Why the Last Man, there was a lot of backstory, there was a lot of building where they're like trying to make the government continue to function. And
I mean, the only thing I'll give them props on is that they did drag it out a little bit. Where if you've read the comic, you know, in the first like 3 pages, that's when everybody dies.
Yeah.
And in the first episode of the series, They definitely. If as a reader, you know what's about to fucking happen.
Sure.
So as people are having these conversations, interactions, you're
It's
like, you're
why the
about
last
to
man,
fucking die.
There's a man there. There's a man there.
But I'm just saying, there's stuff going on. Like, I'll call you tomorrow, honey. And you're like, no, you won't.
Yeah, right.
Within the books, they, as you said, it was the first few pages, everything just happens. And
Yeah.
then they did the flashbacks. What I didn't like about the show compared to the books, they tried to compare it too much to Walking Dead, where they were showing like dead animals laying about like days before.
Sure.
And
they were like leading up, and that didn't happen.
Yeah,
in
I
the
agree.
book.
It's also like we all know that every male like chromosome animal died. Like, did we really need to see the dog's death? Like, did we really need? No.
No.
We know it's
No.
dead.
And in the comic, it's instantaneous.
Yeah.
All at one time. And in the
Mhm.
series, they go, oh, it's weird. All these rats are dying. Oh, it's weird. And building up. And, in the comic, there's no hints. There's nothing going on. Just instantaneous.
All instantaneous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it was PTSD for everyone. It was there was no leading up.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. They weren't like hearing from other countries that shit was happening and was weird. They mimicked like pandemic movies about there being something strange that happened. Like
Right.
it reminded me a little bit of like, World War Z, where they were hearing about other countries dealing with some shit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's on, and it's just very fast. No, the thing with Why the Last Man I thought was interesting is that it all happened simultaneously across the world, and that was brought up in the book. That this isn't a disease, because disease doesn't happen that way,
Yeah.
and that creates much more of a like mystical vibe to it that makes it more interesting. Honestly,
They almost made it sound like COVID.
Almost like
Exactly.
COVID.
That's what I was thinking too.
Well, and that I think is part of the problem with this series is that the book was written well before we, in our time, dealt with like a serious pandemic. And coming off of the pandemic, they had the opportunity to have conversations about the pandemic while being separate enough from it that it was more palatable to people that were genuinely scarred from the pandemic, having like emotional or even physical issues stemming from the pandemic. You could have had everybody died at once and then being like, yeah, it's not a pandemic, it's a weird fucking thing. And it's just enough different that you can engage your audience a little bit better. But no, they went the vaguely viral route.
Yeah.
I think that was a misstep, honest. Like,
Yeah, no.
this is also the post Marvel Endgame world where we saw literally half of the world die, like disappear. And the fact that it wasn't just men, the world was able to continue on because like, it wasn't like, oh yeah, the species is dead. It was that, no, we can still survive, but it's tragic. And there was so much genuine, like kind of dystopian tone to that when half the world dies, but it's all one half of like post-apocalypse happens right then. And they started way earlier in the apocalypse in the series than they did in the books.
Yeah.
I was going to throw out in the book, they show what happens and then it flash forwards 2 months later. And I thought, if you're going to do a show like this, take advantage of that a little bit. Show more areas that are affected. In the comic, you literally have this chick driving a dump truck trash truck, picking up dead bodies. She's like, I get a can of food for every dead, male body that I take to them to clean up the streets. Didn't even touch on that in the series. They had this opportunity to kind of, if you're going to drag out stuff, how about we don't do a too much jump and kind of give us a little more detail of places and how things are affected.
Yeah, and then that same person, she was just like, oh, I was a supermodel.
Yeah.
And now she's like a dead body picker-upper dump truck person.
They just had an opportunity in the series to take advantage of that and not just jump 2 months ahead like the book, but actually show us a little more of kind of like it, how the world was affected. And they were like, nah, we won't worry about it. We'll just show the president.
Yeah.
I think with the pacing, if they had just done first episode where it gave you the values of the characters, where it's like Yurik meeting up with his sister for like lunch to kind of touch base, or even a phone call where they haven't talked in a while and she gets pissed off at him and he's like, this is why I don't call you or something. And then mom talking about them or something. And then the girlfriend that is in Australia through the entire comic, right?
Yes.
Is
Most of it. He does eventually get to her. So.
he gets to Australia, but like she's not a revolutionary trying to attack the fucking Pentagon.
Not at all.
No, I don't think so.
No,
yeah.
I don't think so.
Not at all.
So you set up all these characters and where they are, and then at the end of the first episode, you have like literally you're walking through the streets as everybody's just fucking dying, and then him rushing home, and then you do like 2 months later, and him like huddled in, and you have like 2 minutes of him like peeking outside, and then the end of the episode. I think that's a very good way to start. And it was just boring. The first episode was boring.
I think that's a really good point about the show Beth versus the comic Beth. She just became like this radical, like so soon after. And like you even see, and going back also, like they had that last scene in the last episode where it's like the flashback to the dinner and like just like, oh, the disappointment, oh, she sucks, and like you know, just dysfunctional family shit, like nothing like crazy, like whatever. But I think it's funny how Beth, this person who was super smart and was like offered this fellowship in Australia and like all this stuff, she was like radicalized like so fast. But then it makes sense that someone like Hero was just brainwashed or whatever so quickly because of like how kind of damaged she was. Like that makes more sense. But it's just like it doesn't make sense how like this really smart, intelligent person was just like a radical, like out of the box, just on a flip.
Another thing is in the book from the start, they build up a mystery of what caused it because you go different
He's
places.
Got like his ring or something.
There's the amulet that 355 is going to. Then something they never touched on in the series. Dr. Man, who is literally about to give birth to her clone, right as the countdown of seconds to every male dying, and they kind of throw out at the beginning of the series, the book, like what caused it. And this one, they don't give you anything.
Yeah, they kind of like wonder, and like there's like little bits because it's like, you know, when they finally like meet Alice and Man, it's like there's a baby crib, there's no baby. And you kind of like assume it's like little things you assume, but like in the comic, what they did was like Brian K. Vaughan, he said what happened, but he didn't say like, oh, this is specifically what it is, but it's in the comics and it's just up to, he's like, I just leave it up to whoever to decide what they think caused it.
Well, it's the Night of the Living Dead thing where Night of the Living Dead suggested a couple things that it could have been that caused the zombie apocalypse, and never in all of the movies does it answer that. Like, because the characters don't know, so why would you know as a viewer? Like, it leaves it open-ended, and I love that. But with Dr. Man, I hate that there's just like hanging fucking thing of like, what is she doing that's so fucking perverse that she's like off the registers, and she's just like, they don't respect my research, and they just never get into it. And I know they were waiting for a second season to delve in more, but like, give me more than that.
Well, with Dr. Man, it comes out in the book, she's doing bio research, she's doing cloning. And she's supposed to be giving birth to her own clone at the moment that everything goes down. But as far as the show goes, like
nothing.
Yeah,
she's just like
a character.
She's an angry lesbian that wants to get fucked. Like
they make
that's
her such a spaz.
Yeah, such a spaz.
Such a spaz.
So yeah, like in the show, like they like, oh, there's a baby crib, whatever. But then in the last episode, you know, she has like these like little like dots and stuff on her stomach, and she like asks what those are, and she's just like, they brush over it. To me, that looked like possibly like an IVF kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that. So I'm like, yeah, no, that had to have done with, they probably would have broached that more in like another season, but.
It was weird. We were just talking about Beth a few minutes ago and how she got radicalized, like, again, in a period of a couple months, where in the comic, it's Hero who gets radicalized so quickly. I mean, to the point, she cuts off a boob because she's part of the Amazon. And that was kind of disappointing with the series, is that you see that she's starting to kind of agree with the Amazons, but you literally don't have that like hardcore, like jumping all the way into it. And then you look at a character like Beth, who's not like that in the comic, who's like, yeah, let's fucking blow up the Pentagon.
And that's, I think, my biggest issue with the series. I didn't dislike the series, but it was slow to get to the point. where if that 2-month jump in the comics made a huge difference in my interest in the comic, and that if you go to Hero cutting off a titty, like then you see that like Hero's already been militarized, has already been brainwashed to a point of like when there is a turn where she does see her brother and she like against better judgment, against her brainwashing, like helps in a way, like you see how much of an importance that is. And so when she sees her brother in the series, it's like she's kind of not even into the leader at that point in her trajectory anyway. So there's no hard turn for her.
Yeah.
Not any major turn.
Also with the show, because you think about the comic, and yeah, it's a lot of Yorick for a long time, and then there's not that many women. I think their whole point was like, oh, this is a show about women, and this is a show about, that's like the whole point is like, there's only one man left, like, etc. And obviously, eventually in the comics you find out there's other things and etc. But I don't know, I think they just wanted to make it this thing like for whatever 2021 was, and I don't know, it just didn't work. It just didn't work.
It didn't work.
Again, the one of the things that works for the comic, it's kind of a road trip comic. I mean, they're going through, and this one again, just lazy writing where it's like, oh look, we met up with the convicts. Oh look, the Amazons
spent 3 episodes at a Walmart.
Walked like 10 miles, and now they're at the same place. And that's to me just kind of lazy to have it that set up instead of them hunting them and going farther than what, a day's walk.
They go virtually across the country after him.
I agree that the writing for the show was very lazy, and as far as Dr. Mann went, that kind of bothered me in the show because she was so subdued in the book. Like she was a very subdued character, and they made her out to be like this like crazy lesbian spaz person in the show, which didn't work for me.
She was almost like a weird tropey two-dimensional character where like there was no character development. You just threw a couple like tropes at the character and went, yep, that's the person now.
You just don't really care about her.
Between that and I agree that they brought it up 2021 to be more issue sensitive, but the book did not have that many trans people in it.
And I did want to get into that too.
The show was rife with trans people to the point where the characters didn't care that they saw a dude. And that was a big part of the books. Whereas like when a man was spotted, it was a big deal. And now it was just like, oh, you're just a trans person.
But I was interested, and I feel like they missed an opportunity to see, like, to have a conversation about TERFs with the Amazons, because they were talking about like tracking down every dude with the thought process that like biologically born men were still around. I seen one in the next town. Let's go get him. Even they use a trans character as a turn where it's somebody that has a similar like facial hair and hair to Uric that goes out with 355 into the woods, being like, we found him. They use a trans character as that turn for Uric to get away, so that there is that conversation of, are you going against like even trans men? Like, where is your line? And if you make the Amazons in this weird TERF type group, you can have a really interesting conversation about where lines are drawn in this version with trans characters, because I mean they're villains anyway, so fuck it, make them J.K. Rowling, make them Dave Chappelle, fuck it, like just make them fucking assholes, and talk about like character building where there's people that are Amazons that are like, okay, listen, like fuck dudes, but trans is where I'm drawing the line. Like I have trans friends, like I'm not cool with this, like not great.
I mean, that was like the whole scene with like Sam being with the Amazons and just like, you know, they were just like, it's Roxanne and like people were against him. And then like the one girl, I don't remember her name, but she was like talking to him. And then the next scene, you see them like beating the crap out of her, beating the shit out of her because she was talking to
Like
the trans
Katie or
guy.
Carrie
Yeah.
or something.
Like, and it was just like,
I felt like they built towards that, but then they never got to that place of them
they
being
didn't.
like,
And then she just let him take some food and leave. So I don't know.
I mean, they kind of set it up where with Sam, like that he had worked hard to be accepted in society and got to that point, and then literally the Amazons are the one sect of like the new population that fucking hates the shit out of him, and he's stuck in the situation. And he throughout the couple episodes, he's like, I leave right now, like because you can just feel the uncomfortableness. Like everybody there is like, we hate anything male gender like related. And that's your goal. And you can just see, like, he wants, like, get me the fuck out of here.
I think that actor actually did a really good job in
I
his
agree.
role.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't in the book, like, he played that part so well to, like, actually make you feel like, what are my options? Him and the lady who played Nora both were like, I either put up with this bullshit or I'm alone.
yeah.
And those are my choices.
I mean,
and I have to pick the lesser of two evils.
In the comic, honestly, the most they really deal with transgender is sex workers in the comic, where that's the new, like, you know, like
really slim.
high paying like job in this new world is taking testosterone and being like the male sex worker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I would love that you have this moment where, like, I mean, I have had this conversation with Amy Bogart a number of times where there's only like gay and trans tragedies in film and television. There's never there's very rarely, you've got like Love, Simon and stuff where there's like actually a fun romantic romp kind of thing. But why not as counter where you've got the trans character that's being like shit on for being trans, and then you shoot to a trans character in another part of the country that is like a fucking superhero, like that is like the women are just like, can you fuck me next, is like a sexual fucking icon. Like the trans community is coveted, is treated like superstars. That would be amazing. I would love that, because if anything it'd be like aw.
Also, I felt like once Sam wasn't in the main storyline, they just like threw him away. Like they showed him like being at that school, and all of a sudden there's a woman there, and she's like, oh, just play the piano, you're an artist. And then it was like over, and I forgot about it. And then the last like 5-10 minutes of the finale, he's like comes back and he's like, Hero's in trouble. And I'm like, wait, right? Well, what happened?
Yeah.
Are you
also
Lassie?
because also
What's
he
that?
looked
What's
like
that?
What's that?
he
Is
looked
Hero
like
stuck in a well?
Amazon's gone crazy.
He also looked like he had been like beaten up a little bit. So I'm like, what did that teacher do? Like, what happened?
Oh yeah, they
like,
never really got into
it
that
just
at all.
it completely just like got disregarded, and then yeah.
We're all here. We've all read the comic. You know, we're excited about the show, but it didn't hit the expectations. But for a minute, let's just give the actual comic book series its props. In one of the most tragic endings, I know we put a spoiler warning anyway, but holy shit, the last issue, the last part of that series, it fucking just gut punches you. And his Yorick's relationship with 355 and what happens to him. So, I even with the spoiler warning, I want people to discover it.
Yeah.
It's that ending is an amazing gut punch.
Again, I'm not gonna like say any spoilers for people that haven't read it, but just like again, like 355, it's just like I'm not a person when they read, I just like outwardly like say things, and then I was just like, whoa, like I was just like outwardly like saying like
I
if
feel
I
like
was
all
like
of us with that there's a part of that you're like, what the
yeah.
I would say if you have not if you haven't seen the series and you are just a regular listener to the show and didn't care enough to like worry about spoilers, I don't think it's a bad show. I think there is some value to it. It's a little slow, but it is an interesting play into what the world would look like if just one day all the men died except for one dude that does magic. That old trope.
And a monkey.
And a monkey.
Also a monkey. I just want to add, if you're a person who has never seen or read, watch the show first and then read the book.
Yeah, because you're going to have expectations after reading the comic that will not be met by the series.
Yeah.
And that's pretty true with books and film and stuff too. That if you read the book and then you watch the movie, it usually doesn't translate too well.
And I mean, the writer Brian K. Vaughan, I mean, he just fleshes out the characters so well, and that was something that was just missing in this show. Is just how he just builds up these characters, and he does in other books. You know, if you do read Why the Last Man, read Saga. It's just as good.
Oh my god,
it's a different sci-fi take.
Talk about a series that like I don't know how they would ever adapt it, but it would have to be a series. Like there's no way to.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to have to be because there's such a movement in the comic book community of just like this is going to eventually be a live property.
My God, it better have a fucking budget. That
Seriously.
you can't do that for FX on Hulu money.
And
like
you know, honestly, just the producers or whoever was involved with Why the Last Man, look at a show like Sweet Tooth. I mean, we did an episode earlier where they took it and they didn't just go overboard trying to like they just kept it very simple. This road trip story, you know, and it works.
That's all it had to be.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing that I wanted to mention with like the Why the Last Man cancellation is reading about it, like, because this has been something that's been trying to be in production for years and years and years.
Like 10 years, I think.
Over 10 years, like since like 05, 06, like whatever. So basically the show got picked up in 2018 and then they had all these like money things and these options and things, and Diane Lane was like their big star. And they had a completely different cast of people besides her. And then, you know, COVID happened and all this stuff. So honestly, like from what I've read, they really only canceled it because of money. Because it didn't really have to do with, because they don't release viewership things. It didn't really have to, because the reviews were kind of mixed.
It was a pretty quick cancellation.
It was a really quick, and that's not normally a thing. And I know it was like FX on Hulu. The promotion was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, let's all agree on that. But
where even as a fan, I was like, oh, that's this week.
Yeah, no, I like, if you weren't a diehard fan, you would have never known. It was a show.
They just dropped the ball on that so much.
They dropped the ball on it so much. And I think, I mean, obviously COVID had a big impact on that. But yeah, I think money was a huge factor. And that's kind of why they didn't pick it up, which sucks.
But here's the thing is The Boys and Umbrella Academy kind of took a hit for those type of series because they came out first and people love it, and they just kind of backed away from like, hey, you like this shit, come check this out. They just wanted to be their own things. Like, it's barely mentioned in the promos based on the comic book. It's it's like, see the crazy scenario. It's more about the special effects of all the guys dying in the first episode than it is based on this comic book.
Yeah, it has it doesn't mention like based on anything at all.
They like walked away from it.
I mean, it's such a bummer.
Yeah, it
they
really
tried
is.
to make it too much like Walking Dead, the show.
They tried to make it a bummer show, and what I do love is even in the post-apocalypse where all half the world died, like men are dead. It was still charming in its own way in the comic. You know, it was still fun. It was a fun read.
I think people didn't like, because it didn't mention how it was like based on a comic. I think people were just like, oh, they're just trying to make the show for the times, like, and it's just like another apocalypse show. And I think that had a lot to do with it. It really needed to play into that more.
I don't actually have an issue with this series pulling this in the forefront of talking about trans characters. That was way less of an issue in the comic in 2002 when it first came out. Given the political feel of the world, I'm sure some people looked at that and was like, oh, now this is just preaching shit. Yeah. And like, no, actually, if biologically born men died, this would be a thing that would be part of the conversation.
I literally thought that too.
Yeah.
That actually makes a very valid point, and I hadn't thought of it when I was first started the books.
Yeah.
But it's taken me this long to get through half of them. So now in this day and age, it definitely makes sense.
It absolutely would. Yeah. And I am glad that they included that as part of the storyline.
Yeah. That's the only part of the show that I really like.
Yeah, really, honestly, yeah. But on that note, we got to get to the last little bit before we finish this episode. We're talking about making a drunken scene.
Making a drunken scene. Yes.
See, now your son's going to be happy.
Yeah.
because we did the
Shout out to Parker.
Yeah, Parker. There you go, Parker. All right. So I think Teri and I are going to be doing the first one, right? We got Agent 355 and Margaret Valentine for the first one. Which one did you say you were going to do?
I'll be the pussy. You can be Agent 355.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I want to preface this that so fucking dumb. Amy and I talk in little mouth voice. It's the dumbest thing ever. So you get to explore that with me. So here we go. Agent 355. These are actually excerpts from the comic and not the series. So if this doesn't sound familiar from the series, we actually pulled from the comic for this one because there's very limited amount of quotes from the series online. So
Kind of weird.
yeah, it's so weird. So here we go. Agent 355. Miss Valentine, I'm Agent 355. I work for a covert arm of the executive branch called the Sculptor Ring. I'm here to escort you back to Washington.
Why? I'm the Secretary of Agriculture. Most of the farmers and livestock are dead.
Actually, your title has changed.
Oh, really? What am I now? Secretary of Hopeless Causes?
No, man. You're President of the United States. That sounded like fucking a mole man or something.
Jeez. Sorry, those children scripted.
No, you're
My
good.
bad in your headphones.
Oh, yeah, first time ever been unscripted on Drunken Scene. Yeah, that never happened before.
No.
Yep. So here we go into, we've got Yorick and Mourner.
Yep.
Just a random Mourner.
Which one do
I
you
was going to just do Yorick if that's fine.
That's fine. I'll do Mourner.
All right.
Okay.
Amazons. I only heard rumors. They're roving packs of pissed off lesbians. Right?
Nah, they're not gay. They're insane. Someone told me they all burn one of their boobs off.
Why?
Supposedly, that's what the real Amazons did. Makes it easier to shoot an arrow or something. Who knows? Some girls would do it. Some girls would do any shit to get into a gang, long as it means food and protection.
I like the boobs.
That's the thing. Yeah, no bows and arrows with the Amazons at all.
Yeah.
Like zero. Like they're like, yay.
Zero. They have them ride horses, but in the book they're motorcycles. I don't know. Like there was different things they try to do.
I
without
hated
doing them.
when they attacked the town. They just rolled into the middle of town with like no fucking planning. Be like, hey, we have this now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
are you the biggest idiot in the entire fucking world? That's how you're gonna take over town? Is just announce it in the middle of town square where literally you have you seen episode 3? Like you have they have the high ground.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
She worked at Costco.
She did.
She doesn't know. She doesn't know.
On that note, if you are gonna invade a town in a post-man society, make sure that you do it with some level of planning, and not just walk in and be like, "Well, hope they don't have guns." Insane to me. But thank you so much for my panel for coming on and talking about Why the Last Man. I will tell you, please. Through our link, hopefully, but in general, if you can pick up Why the Last Man, the comic, it is one of my personal favorite comics of all time. I love it to death.
So good.
So fucking good. And you can find like trades and compendiums all over the place. And well worth the read. I think the series had the opportunity to get a rhythm going if they were given enough seasons, and I'm disappointed that we're not going to see that, but who knows? We might see something in the future. There's always an opportunity.
Yep.
But you will get a chance to here is another episode of Geeks Under the Influence next week, so make sure to rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, join the social media, join the chaos that is the GUI network, and we'll find you here next time for another episode. I'm Mike the Hobbit, and as we say, join us Or if you're a man, die.
Shut the fuck up. Hobbit.
Join us or die, join us or die, or I will swallow your soul.
GUIPodcast.com.
Yeah, and like babies are cool, but if you don't have a baby, then fuck you, men are cool.